Right now, I am standing on what used to be the factory floor of Country Coach, and we have a wealth of knowledge here. This is Gary.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Took a temporary job here at Country Coach, actually making molds, and then they offered me a job in engineering. I took it and never left.
So I'm gonna kind of just walk through, this is our showroom here, but it's got a lot of history here and I'm just gonna talk about some of the evolution of Country Coach, what happened through the years, because I have a little bit of everything here that we can talk about. So we're just gonna walk this way, start down over here. This in front of me is the 2006 Country Coach. As most of the people know that follow Country Coach, 2005 was a big year for Country Coach. I don't have an 05 Magna sitting here, so we'll start here. But in 05 was the diff when everybody started raising their ceilings, going to a one-piece windshield and doing all that. So kind of Magna was our first coach we did that with, and completely redesigned the whole entire motorhome from chassis to the ceiling. And this is kind of an example of that. But one thing that was really cool back then, and still today, is you really don't see a more beautiful motorhome than this right here, even compared to brand new ones today. And there's several reasons for that. You know, the slope of the windshield, nobody's sloping back the windshield. You just don't see that.
Oh yeah.
Because of the expense of doing that, and the design of doing that, and because you take away floor plan space in doing that. But because of it, you get a look that is still, you drive this coach into a motorhome, or motorhome park and cleaned up, most people are gonna think it's a brand new motorhome. Oh my God, what is this thing?
Absolutely.
One of the cool things though is when we designed the front cap of all these coaches, we actually did it, hand sketched it, drew it up, and did 3D models of the front caps, and then looked at that and decided what changes we wanted. And we did. It's the first time Country Coach did small 3D models of coaches. That's kind of how these coaches were created. You know, there's an 06 Magna here and there's an 09 Magna there. Very similar motorhomes. A lot of chassis changes in this. That has a 20,000 pound front suspension. This has a 16,500 pound front suspension. New ceiling design. So the coach, they look very similar, even though there's a lot of differences in between those two coaches. If we move over here to this 06 Intrigue, and 06 is the first year Country Coach grew the Intrigue. If you looked at an 05 Intrigue, which I don't have sitting here at the moment, but that is the first year of the new Intrigue for Country Coaches. And the same type of design that went on here, we raised the ceiling, changed the complete front cap. It's a different windshield, even though they look very similar. It's not laid back as far as a Magna. But that would be the introduction year of the new Intrigue 530 back versus the shorter Intrigue with a two-piece windshield. And the coach next to it is an 05 Allure. That is also the first year that Country Coach raised the roof of the Allure and went to a front piece windshield. Now the Allure was designed to have more floor plan space. So as you can see, the front end of that coach is very flat up and down, like you see a majority of motorhomes today. That gives you, it's less expensive to do, gives you more floor plan space, more cabinetry space, that type of stuff. It just doesn't have the aesthetics of the other high-end motorhomes.
There's so many different Country Coaches out there, and every one of them has its own unique styling. But I'm very curious, what's the difference? Can you explain the difference between the Intrigue, the Allure, the Magna, and then also the difference between the different numbers, the 430s, the 530s, the 700s? What makes all those names and numbers?
So basically, the marketing team would create the names for the coaches. In this case, Magna and Infinity were, you know, I don't remember the first years they were made, but I want to say 1990 or 89 was the first time Country Coach made a Magna. It was what they called the first wide body motorhome. So it was the first motorhome they built at 102 wide. Before the Magna, everything else was a 96 wide, then they went to 102 wide. But from a model line sense, Country Coach built a coach called the Tribute. Later in the years, we probably made, I don't know, a couple hundred of those maybe. That was the lowest end line. Went to an Inspire, then the Allure, then the Intrigue, the Magna, and the Affinity is kind of the product line, the Affinity being the highest end product. Sometime in the late 2005, 2006 timeframe, Country Coach went to this numbering system as very similar to like a BMW. The lower the number, the lower the series. So in this case, the Allure was a 400 series. The Inspire was a 300 series. Intrigue was a 500 series, Magna was a 600, and Affinity was a 700. It was just a way to do that, to give it a different name than just the Magna. It really didn't, it confused a lot of people, so we didn't stick with it as we were originally going to get rid of the names. We decided not to do that because it was a confusing changeover for that.
Where we're standing here right now, what used to happen in this room? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, actually, you can still see the lines on the floor. So these was a jig station. So basically what happened, a chassis would roll in where that Magna sits right there, a raw chassis built in our Dynamax facility, which is down the way. And that was station 1, station 2, and this was station 3. Station 3, you see these jig lines on the floor. That's where they would set the jacking system and the crane system. And in station 3, they would drop sidewalls on the coach and a roof on a coach. So it's just these lines on the floor has representations of where they would set jigs to set their different sidewalls and floors. The next station, they would put on the fiberglass front cap and rear cap. That would be station 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the end of station 5 here, the coach it would really look like a motorhome. Had a front cap on it, had a rear cap on it, had sidewalls and a roof. Everything was white, but it's ready for paint. So it actually would drive from here out the door, go to our Plant 1 facility where our paint booths were at, get painted. And then if you look all the way at the end of this facility, the coaches would come back in for a final finish, which was 4 other stations there at the end that did all the interior detail work of the motorhomes. But that's basically how this plant was laid out.
Wow. Hey, Gary, I cannot thank you enough for just sharing so much wisdom about Country Coach and just some of the history of this facility that we're standing in right now. Greatly appreciate you and the folks at Premier RV. Greatly appreciate all of you on YouTube that are liking and subscribing to these videos. I hope you're all having a great day. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the time. Have a great day.